It's like the sequel to high school that no one ever asked for. I think it's also dangerous because you don't think it's dangerous.
Hello?
Hi, my name is Estrella and welcome to my channel where I talk about social issues, the media, and sometimes myself. So for today's video, I am going to be talking about my experience with deleting social media for about a year and also ranking the most common social media apps based on how toxic they are. Don't worry, I'm gonna save you the whole spiel about how social media is toxic, bad for mental health. I'm gonna not dummy proof you. I also feel like I could offer a unique perspective somewhat because I deleted social media when I wasn't like making content out of it like some content creators are doing. So like a lot of people, my relationship with social media was always very conflicting because on one hand, I was able to connect with people and stuff, but on the other, I was posting to get external validation, and so I knew it was unhealthy. But being a very young person, being a Gen Z, and being someone who is still in high school where it feels like you can only survive if you do have social media so that you can give someone your social media when they ask for it, it was definitely very odd, and I definitely relied on social media a lot. And me deleting social media was actually kind of an accident. I didn't really plan it. It was more so because for a year I didn't have a phone. And this was in high school, I believe in grade 10. And it was pretty odd to not have a phone. Everyone had a smartphone, but I broke mine and just never got it for like a year. And initially I was super pissed off about it. Like, I obviously really wanted to be able to talk to my friends, see what other people are up to. I just felt so out of the loop. So during this time, I had no access to Snapchat. I rarely went on Instagram, maybe like a few times a month. Did not use Twitter anymore. I mainly watched YouTube, but at the time I never like posted on YouTube. I did go on LinkedIn a lot, which I'm gonna touch on later when I rank the app. And I did also go on Spotify a lot. That was where I listened to my music and chilled out. But I wasn't really making any type of content. I wasn't really posting selfies. And besides updating my online resume on LinkedIn, no one knew what I was up to. My online presence was literally like non-existent, and it was to the point where people at school would tell me, "Where did you go?" Like, they didn't even know where I was, even in real life, because people relied on social media to get updates from other people. So when they didn't see me around school, because I mean everyone has different classes, people were just like confused. Like, they thought I moved schools. They thought I just stopped going to school because I wasn't on social media. It was weird thinking back to it. But from deleting it, I feel like that 1 year just cleansed all the addiction that I had with social media. Like, now it's kind of just out of my system. And I still use social media. Obviously, you're watching this freaking video. So I'm here on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. And where else am I at? That's about it. I don't use that many social media apps, and I feel like now I can easily control how often I go on social media. I don't really have that urge where I'm like, shit, I need to go on there. And like I said, I promise you I'm not gonna have a whole spiel about how it's just toxic, that basic stuff, like we all know that. But I genuinely think that you cannot really see how toxic social media is unless you get off of it. And I'm not saying just one single app, I'm saying most of them, especially the ones you go on the most. You gotta get rid of them. If you don't, you're not gonna see that you're better off without them. And I think one skill that I've learned that's so important, I think that saves so much time and energy, is just that I can easily control not only the time I spend on social media, but like the type of content I look at. Like, if something isn't useful to me, it's not helping me in any way, I don't look at it. So say like on Instagram, there's like a bunch of infographics about like self-love, self-development. It's always the same shit, like meditation, mindfulness, breathe, take a break, all that stuff. Like, I don't really look at them anymore because it's just a waste of time. Like, I already know that. Like, it's not really adding any value to what we already know as like common sense. I mean, granted, I still look at things out of curiosity. Like I would look at an influencer who's pretty and I'm like, wow, their outfits are so cute. But I think that in terms of trying to get information on social media, I don't really do that as much anymore. I think my FOMO has also gotten a lot better. I don't feel like I'm really out of the loop when I'm not on social media for a bit. I just feel like, okay, I'm like on my own, I'm doing my own thing, I'm kind of more in the present, and that's a good thing. Not like I need to know every second of someone else's life, and if anything, it's just making me compare myself to them, which doesn't help at all. I also have a habit of just looking at the few accounts that I genuinely care about. So it could be like someone I don't know, like an influencer, or like my closest friends, and I might like turn on their notification. I don't really like aimlessly scroll through the feed, and I also turn on bell notification for the people that I want to watch, so I'm not wasting time on YouTube just looking at these random YouTubers just because I'm really bored. And now when I post, I just post what I want. I don't care about external validation as much anymore. Even as a content creator, obviously I would want more followers. That kind of equals to more success. But at the same time, like say like Instagram is a very superficial place where people just post highlight reels. I kind of post things that are just like my aesthetic, what I like. I am going to touch on casual Insta in the second half of the video, so I'll talk more about that later. But yeah, I just don't care as much about other people's opinion online because I know that I'm good on my own. That sounds very cheesy. I also haven't been as intentional with what I post. I wouldn't really schedule something, at least on Instagram. Like YouTube is a little bit different, but I don't schedule something to a time that has more people online so I get more engagement. I just post it like pretty much right after I take a picture. Once I leave the location, I feel like, okay, it's like safe, I'm at home. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna post it now because I feel like it, and like that's that. And another tip that other people have mentioned but I think is so important is just to unfollow people that you don't care about. Like if you don't follow them, then obviously you're less likely to check up on them. I used to follow like maybe 1,000 people, which is a lot. Now I follow like 500 people. It just makes a lot more sense. And for a while I felt like I had to follow some people out of obligation, like especially people from high school. And even after I graduated a year ago, I was like, damn it, like I don't know if I should unfollow them because I feel like it would just kind of be a message where it's like, I don't care about you anymore, goodbye, don't contact me type thing. But I don't think it has to be that deep. It's literally putting yourself first and cleaning up your feed. And if it makes you feel better too, you can even remove them as your follower so that you can like maybe post something more personal, or you simply just feel more comfortable with less followers. That's totally up to you, and it's not at anyone else's discretion to tell you what to do with your accounts. So overall, do I think that social media, it's practical to delete them for like a year? I think so. Like it kind of depends on person to person. I can't really tell you what to do. But even if social media is like part of your job, maybe you have a business, you're not missing out that much by deleting them for a bit or simply weeding off of them. And do I think it's realistic to not have social media forever? Well, no. I think that social media, like so many people have it, so it is pretty easy to connect with people and like meet new people especially. And I think having an online presence can help a lot of people's careers and interests. So I think just like everything, there's the good and there's the bad. It's just all about balancing it. So now that we got the boring stuff out of the way, we're gonna rank the social media apps. The ones on the top, it's the worst ones, and the ones on the bottom are the best ones. So the first one, I named it Deadly, and I'm gonna put TikTok right up there because literally murderers go viral on TikTok. What?
𝖍𝖊𝖘 actually went viral on TikTok. More than 7 years later, some random person on TikTok decided to create a short little video showing Isabella walking into a courtroom. The internet went wild with tons of people on TikTok in shock that this cute little innocent looking girl could commit such a savage crime. You know, people actually saw this video, right? And started trying to mimic the movements she was making at the camera. And it's actually pretty bizarre.
And to that, I just gotta say, that's why I'm glad I'm not on TikTok anymore. And of course, on TikTok, people feel entitled to comment mean things that they'll never say to someone else's face. Not to mention, the algorithm favors white people, and there are so many cultures and trends made up by people of color or other marginalized groups that are not being represented properly, and the white people get to take credit for them because the algorithm is pushing that out. TikTok is also so unhealthy. Every 15 seconds to a minute, you're getting a different type of content, and it could range from like being something super happy to someone having like a sad story about their life. It essentially means you feel a different emotion every like minute or something, and that definitely cannot be good. I remember, I think that's like the main reason why I got so addicted to TikTok and why I had to quit it. Yikes. But I have to say, TikTok does have its good sides. I would say that the LGBTQ+ side of TikTok is pretty nice. I definitely feel like I found my sense of style and thought more about my gender identity because of that. I'm not gonna give it sole credit, but TikTok definitely helped with that. So the second category is called the cheater. And as you have guessed, I am putting Snapchat over there. My experience with Snapchat has never been that great, so I'm definitely like biased. I haven't used it in like 2 years. So I put it here because honestly, I don't see the point of Snapchat. I feel like all the other apps could replace it easily, but somehow it still exists. I think Snapchat is also where people hide things, so obviously people can easily like betray a friend. They can like easily cheat on someone. It's just a lot of exclusivity going on. I would like check people's stories, see like, oh, who's hanging out with who. I also felt the pressure of getting like, I think it's called Snapchat points, but I would want it to hit like a higher score so that I would seem like, oh yeah, I'm social, I talk to people, I have friends. Even though that doesn't necessarily equate to having friends, I feel like it's something that you have to kind of keep up with a lot. Especially if you want to keep up with the streaks, you have to do it like every day. Personally, it's just too much social interaction for me. Third tier, I call it high school. So third tier, I named it high school because it's a place where it's super toxic. People are so judgmental and immature because, I mean, they are kids. Yeah, it's just a place where there's a lot of drama. Everyone just tries to impress each other. Overall, not a good place to be in, and a place I'm glad that I'm out of. So the first app I'm definitely gonna put there is Instagram. Instagram is the app that everyone has in high school. On Instagram, people post highlight reels. I mean, you know, it just kind of feeds into the unrealistic beauty standard. And on Instagram, it's the place where you can easily compare yourself to other people. Everything is laid out for you in squares. And it used to be on Instagram, you post, you know, the most glamorous pictures, very professional looking. But now it's switched to being casual, the casual Instagram culture. And even that, it's not completely authentic. It's still doing the same thing where people are posting the best moments in just a different format. Amanda has a great video and actually commented on it. And I still stand by the comment I had under her video. That casual Insta just gives me the same vibe with people flaunting their no makeup look. But I guess the biggest paradox is that honestly, I feel like I somewhat contribute to that culture as well. Some of my pictures are very oversaturated and more like glamorous in a way. Others are kind of like just me taking a picture without much filter and then like maybe posting random things. Oh, and I almost forgot again. Oh my gosh. Performative activism on Instagram, and the amount of infographics on Instagram is staggering. Like, I get that, it definitely helps spread information, but at the same time, some of the information is just very vague, and people post certain things and repost them, especially on their stories, just to be like, yeah, I know about this, here you go, this is a proof. That's what it feels like to me. You cannot be 100% not performative in any way, because social media is where you're like posting something for other people to see. On Instagram, it's just a bunch of information overload. Okay, now we're actually gonna move on to another app. LinkedIn. You probably forget about her, but she's there in the background, and yes, I am putting it right up with Instagram because that's how bad it can really be. It's a place where you kind of brag about yourself and show yourself off, because people tell you a potential employer might see that. So go off. So I think LinkedIn is a place where you can so easily compare yourself to other people, just like Instagram. While on LinkedIn, people don't post things that are super superficial, like about their looks. It can be just as toxic, if not more, because people are posting their accomplishments, which personally I felt like I had even more pressure to perform and to look at other people's profile to make sure that I'm on track. And I would convince myself that I'm just editing my online resume. That's a productive thing to do. When really, most of the time, I'm just going through a rabbit hole where I'm just looking at other people's profiles. Hi, if you see me stalking you, because LinkedIn tells you, yikes. I would also use that to pressure myself to do enough so that I can leverage my uni apps. I guess in a way it did help, but at the same time it was just super unhealthy because of how much I compared myself to other people, thinking that my achievements equate to my self-worth. LinkedIn doesn't help things either, because it has a built-in function of sending you notifications of people's new accomplishments, any new updates, and it just further reinforces that comparison cycle, and it just goes on and on and on and on. Also, of course, I wouldn't forget the people who recruit young, impressionable students like myself to MLMs. MLMs, if you don't know, it stands for multi-level something. But basically, it's similar to a pyramid scheme, so it's not a very legit opportunity. It's also not a very guaranteed way of making regular income. And I know this because I was recruited by someone, and I was so fucking stupid that I literally believed that woman who told me that, hey, this is an opportunity, you don't have to be trained. I saw her resume and thought that was good. FYI, I was a high school student. At the time, I did think I was like a hotshot. Yeah, I got an internship, I got a co-op, I had some exec leadership shit from high school. You know what? I could see your point, but yeah, I wasted so much time communicating with this person. If someone messages you, especially during the pandemic, I heard there's even more people, just don't fall for it, be careful. Even though it's a professional website, there are people trying to scam others. Third and last one in this section is Twitter. Twitter is literally a place where all the drama happens, just like high school. Now, I don't really go on Twitter much, but whenever I do watch drama channels, when they pull out the receipts, it's always from Twitter. It's like the sequel to high school that no one ever asked for. And on Twitter, there's also a group of children there that are usually from different fan bases. A few years ago when I was on Twitter, that was definitely happening. And I remember after school, I would check Twitter to see what the influencers that I followed were up to. Specifically, I followed the 𝖏𝖚𝖘𝖙 boys, and now in hindsight I don't understand why they were ever famous. And actually, funny story, 𝖐₁𝖊𝖊𝖕, who was part of the 𝖏𝖚𝖘𝖙 boys, he allegedly had his number leaked, and so me being the 12-year-old that I was like, let me, call that number and see what's up. A guy picked up and I was like, oh my god, you're 𝖐₁𝖊𝖊𝖕, I like your vines, whatever. And I think he said something like, yeah, he's 𝖐₁𝖊𝖊𝖕. And for the longest time, I was like, oh my god, I just talked to 𝖐₁𖊊𝖊𝖕. But now looking back, I'm obviously that was probably just some white scrawny boy who wanted to prank children. So yeah, there's that side of Twitter. So the fourth tier, I called it two-faced. And the first one I'm gonna put there is Pinterest. it's where the aesthetics started happening. It's literally just where people try to look cool, present themselves as sometimes something that they're not. It is, again, very superficial. The most popular posts are outfits, makeup, hair, and I do appreciate the room decor inspiration and some of the outfits. And in fact, I post on Pinterest kind of regularly. Like, I post some pictures I take of myself, and like the fact on Pinterest people don't care so much about engagement, like how many comments and likes you get and saves you get. I think it helps me focus on what I want to post. A lot of the toxicity that comes with Pinterest was more so created by other apps. I think Pinterest overall is pretty great, so yeah. And at the same category, I am gonna put Facebook there. If you're like a Gen Z, you probably forgot about Facebook. Like, who is she? And I'm putting it here because I feel like this is a place where people try to glamorize their family life and personal life. They simply just want to be like, yeah, my family is cool. We don't get any arguments, no fights, no nothing. We're all chill. We're all happy. And this is something I talked about in my sharenting video. The idea that parents are sharing too much about their children on social media. And a lot of times it's done on Facebook. So our last tier is called Pick Me. These are the social media that are a little bit different. I feel like they usually get a good rep from people, and when people do delete social medias, they keep these too. But at the end of the day, they are social media and they are somewhat toxic. So the first one is Spotify. You know, people go there for a good time and a long time because you can keep listening to music for hours. And there's not much comparison you could be doing. There can be followers on your playlist. People don't usually care much about that. I think unlike other social medias, it doesn't necessarily draw you in by being toxic and unhealthy. You have so many curated playlists for you. You have your daily mixes, release radar. I love that. I think where it could be a little toxic is the podcast section. Well, now on Spotify, even on this app where there was so low comparison, now people are making content there who are not professionals, like artists. People might feel pressured to make content and get followers in some way. In general, I think it's a chill place. And in fact, I have started listening to podcasts because of Spotify. It's just so convenient. Not sponsored, by the way, but if you want to sponsor me, cool. The last social media app is the one you're watching this video on. So I'm gonna put it in the Pick Me section because, like I mentioned, I feel like this app is the one that a lot of people still keep even if they delete other social media. I feel like YouTube, it's literally just a place to find information, to find relatable content, and in general, I feel like to feel less alone. Obviously, with any other social media app, you can go down a rabbit hole for sure, but I think in general on YouTube you can find so many different types of content, and there are so many people who make really good content that are meaningful. So this is also why I've chosen this platform to give my 2 cents. I feel like it's just a safe place where I can say what I want to say. So comment down below, let me know your thoughts, whether you agree with me or not. Like this video if it was interesting in any way, and subscribe down below for more videos like this. I make commentary videos every week. Yeah, that's about it. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you later. Bye.
Can we switch the language?